Time is not real. Just yesterday, I swear the Bahrain Grand Prix got underway and I was nowhere near to starting this channel. And you mean to tell me now we are at the final race of the season? Man, what an absolute roller coaster. We started absolutely boring with nothing to show that McLaren spawns in Miami, and then we have many different winners from everyone but Red Bull, and now Ferrari and McLaren are dueling it out for the Constructors' Championship, while Max went on to become a four-time world champion. Surely 2025 will be an all-timer since, I swear, if preseason testing shows that the tight grid is not there anymore and the new driver signings are flops, I might give up the sport and go watch golf or whatever is more exciting. Anyways, that's enough yapping. What about this weekend? The Yas Marina circuit, as we know, is not exactly the best track on the calendar, which is made worse since the track is unfortunately the last of the season. Title fights coming down here are always snoozers, as we saw with 2021, with the exception of last lap of course, 2016 and 2014, since the only thing that really kept any of us awake was the context, not the actual racing. The racing is so dull and boring due to the mid-track layout that doesn't flow well, and even though the racing has seen some minor improvements thanks to the modifications, I would still rather watch paint dry than racing here. So, am I right? Or was the racing here actually sweet for once? Well, thankfully, I was wrong. The race here was actually really entertaining for an Abu Dhabi race, and yeah, I'm really satisfied. The 2024 season was a good one, so for one last time, let us recap the weekend and find the winners and losers from it. But before we go any further, make sure to join the Discord where we have good fun and it is a great way to connect with my community. Also, subscribe if you're new if you think the 2025 season will be an amazing season. So enough yapping, and here are the winners and losers from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As always, recap first, and coming off of Qatar, there was no major news except for Lewis going to Silverstone to remember his glory days, and there was also the news of Esteban Ocon being dropped for Jack Doohan in his final race for Alpine, which is just so scummy. Other drivers were allowed to race in the postseason test for their new teams, but Alpine, being the people they are, of course didn't allow Ocon to do so. Just a typical Alpine moment. Other than that though, nothing until it happened. Yesterday, December 5th, 2024, a date which will live in infamy. The nation of Max Verstappen was suddenly and deliberately attacked by the empire of George Russell. Here's some context. Max Verstappen, after his almost unbelievably comedic one-place grid penalty, called George two-faced, a backstabber, and how he lost all respect for George. He said this because Russell was apparently all friendly with him after the incident, but in the steward's room, George was doing everything he can to penalize Max and being really harsh. And I get both sides. I would imagine as a competitor, George has a right to want to be first by all means, but as a person, Max has a right to be pissed off about George's behavior since it really is two-faced. Now normally, drivers make up, however, George in the press interview went the hell off. He started calling Max a bully and how he's an unchecked person with no constraint. And I think the funniest thing out of all of this was Max's response where he said, "Yes, but George is a bully." Bro didn't even try to deny it. He was like, "If I'm a bitch, so are you." Anyways, George said more things like Abu Dhabi 2021, which is really how you know they're running out of points. So how did Max respond? Bro dropped a whole pregnancy announcement to the world in the middle of all of this, and that has to be the ultimate leverage. While George was shitting himself, Maxi Pad Verstappen reveals he'll be a father. And speaking of Maxi Pads, I'm sorry, I'm not going to finish that. Anyways, in other news, drivers are going to their yearly dinner they have at the end of seasons, and thanks to Lando, we know exactly how that went. Okay, now it's Friday, which means we have FP1, and like past years, we have many guest appearances like Drugovich in the Aston, Hirakawa in the McLaren, which was pretty cool, Hadjar in the Red Bull, Iwasa in the V-Carb, Luke Browning in the Williams, and of course, Arthur Leclerc alongside his brother in the Ferrari. Other than that, literally nothing happened that weren't rookie mistakes made by rookies, so now for FP2, and we are cooked. As a Ferrari fan, GG's to McLaren. Y'all might not deserve it, but whatever, enjoy it for now. I say this because McLaren look pretty damn quick around here, and unless doom is upon them, they will get that constructor's title. Also, everyone is being caught off guard by the track, which hopefully means quali and the race will be cooking. So finally FP3, and literally nothing new happened, so let's move on to qualifying. Q1 would see drivers still struggling with the track, mainly at turn 1, and this caught Checo off guard since he got his time deleted for track limits, and after crying like a baby about it, the FIA said, "Here damn," and got his time back, to which he still cried about. Anyways, track evolution was wild around here, which was made more evident by Bottas going P1 for a moment, and before you even think about it, just zip it with your 10K, okay? Just keep coping, cause it's not happening. Q1 would end with no major surprises, or that was at least until Lewis Hamilton was eliminated, and at first I thought it was just another rough session of Mercedes and Lewis being mid, but oh no, something more sinister was going on. According to Team LH, Kevin Magnussen committed a hate crime against Lewis by sending a bollard rolling, which would unfortunately be ran over by Lewis, and the bollard stayed under his car for the entire session. This obviously ruins the aero of the car, which is why he was eliminated. And normally I dunk on Lewis being like, another P8 Milton masterclass, but like, damn dude, this really isn't funny. The amount of bad luck you must have to run over a stranded bollard and for it to not get out of your car until you finish your lap is just so astronomically comical, but yet Lewis somehow did it. Anyways, Q2 time, and it was more the same boring old quali until the final minutes were again track evolution, and this time K-Mag would fall as well as the V-Carbs, but most shockingly, Lance Stroll got out? What? I'm joking. Charles Leclerc initially went fastest, but with the title on the line, he remembered what team he was driving for and swiftly sent it over the line at turn 1 and got his lap time deleted. As Jose Mourinho said, heritage. Q3 time, and Jesus man, I saw that and knew that Max is truly the GOAT because despite almost spinning and sending it into the barrier, he was still faster than the McLarens. Like, how can you deny his greatness any longer? Well, maybe you can, since somehow this guy finishes P5 after that, and the McLarens are now 1-2 for the race. You know, as a Ferrari fan, I'm hurting since I really want the best for my team, but it was never really on, was it now? Anyways, that's quali done, so now onto the final race of the year, and all we can hope for is that this won't suck. So starting with lap 1, what the hell? Guys, it's the final race of the season, please just chill. Forgive me if I missed something. Race starts and some drivers have false starts, Max impregnates Piastri, Leclerc sends an unholy dive bomb to make up 11 places, Checo is spun around to retirement. I feel like I'm missing something, but yeah, VSC is now out and it is done, and thankfully these guys are cleaner, so the race stabilizes. Anyways, I remember why I forgot. Piastri, he is down and out since he was spun around and has a 10-second time penalty from hitting Colapinto, so with Sainz P2 and Leclerc P8, you know, I'm gonna hold off. Anyways, everyone chills and the race really calms down now, but not in a boring way since there are battles. The midfield battle is cooking, the bottom battle is cooking, and the title battle is cooking, and man, what a season this has been. Back to it, and Magnussen and Bottas had one of the worst accidents I have ever seen, and now in the final 10 laps, Lando stays in the lead, and despite Ferrari 2 and 3 and Pastry all the way down, it's still enough. So the race ends in the same order, and McLarens are crowned Constructors Champions of the world. Truthfully, I'm not that mad since it wasn't really on, but still, a chance is a chance and a loss is a loss. What a great F1 season. Now for one last time, let us find the winners and losers, and as always, losers first, and we have Lewis Hamilton. Seriously, who on earth did this guy piss off? Like I said, it's almost comical how unlucky his qualifying was. The cherry on top is that this is his final weekend for Mercedes, and somehow, it really is fitting in the context of the year. Anyways, yeah, I know, his race was really good, but seriously, that is just so unlucky that he just had to be here. Next up, we have Ferrari, and hear me out. Did we do bad this weekend? Of course not, but a loss is a loss. We were in the fight for P1, but we failed, thus we are still losers. Plus, the qualifying was just unfortunate too, and I swear, if next year is gonna consist of Leclerc and Hamilton going depression for depression, y'all can keep that shit. Real ones will move to IndyCar. Anyways, back on topic. Quali was mid, except for my Pookie Sainz doing really good. RIP man, you really didn't deserve it. And the race was actually really good, but we still lost the constructors when we really should have won, especially remember that part of the season. Moving on, we have V-Carb, and just like with Ferrari, a loss is a loss. Not necessarily bad, but kinda worse than Ferrari. Y'all were P6 for the entire year until Brazil, where Alpine spawned out of nowhere and has took your chain. That's crazy, man. I would pack my bags and leave, to be honest. Another loss, by the way, is the potential of a Yuki Hadjar partnership next year because we will see diabolical levels of coping and anger spouts. And seriously, if you think Yuki is a violent man, have the same energy for Hadjar because y'all really haven't seen shit just yet. But yeah, this weekend as a whole was really mid from V-Carb, and we can only pray next year is better for them. Next up is Williams, and someone set up a GoFundMe for them. These guys are running old spec cars, and I don't know if I'm having vision problems, but they are driving so calm and careful, and I'd imagine it's because they just want to make it to the end, and I just feel bad, man. We all really went from it'll get better for them to laughing at them and now just praying for them. And remember what I said last week, how Williams when they crash are fast and when they don't crash they're slow? This weekend kind of proves my point. Here's to a better 2025, I guess. Finally, we have Checo, and for his potential and very likely final race, this is not good. Wasn't his fault, but given the context of everything, things really couldn't have gone worse for him. I hoped the race would be clean, but a part of me always knew it was going to be like this, which sucks. But hey, at least the pain is over. Now for the winners, and let us start with the biggest winner of them all, Max Verstappen. He's retiring, isn't he? A couple weeks ago, he says that he wants a family and doesn't want to be racing in the middle of that. Currently, right now, he does have a stepdaughter, but she's already grown enough to understand Max's line of work. A newborn baby, though, I don't know. Yeah, he's for sure going to retire very soon because I would imagine he wants to be there for them. And even though he said he won't retire, I'll believe him when he pulls up next year. If he does retire this year, though, he is a legend undoubtedly. Truly the Marco Van Basten of the sport, since this man could have potentially been the GOAT, but alas, legend status is more than enough for anyone. Oh, and he had a good weekend, but who cares? Moving on, we have McLaren, and congratulations to them for the title, I guess. Y'all deserve it, I guess. You guys drove a better season and won, I guess. Okay, in all seriousness, we do have to give them props because let's be real, spawning in the title fight randomly after upgrades is very tough. I would imagine they enter the season expecting to be lower contenders and probably planned for that, but after Miami, a lot of adjusting was needed from the team and drivers, and even though they barely squeaked it, they are winners. And if their form continues next year, we should fear them. Every team needs to lock in now if there is a chance at beating them because they are the favorites now. But yeah, good weekend from them and a nice way to end their very weird season. Next, we have Nico Hulkenberg, and man oh man, I was screaming like my family got murdered in front of me when I saw him in P1. Even though he got P4 before the penalty, that's still so mighty, and if I'm not mistaken, that's their best result in a normal session since, yes, they do have a pole position. Let's be real, the rain was a factor in that. But yeah, this guy has to be on like 500 Xanax since there is just no way this is the true pace he has, and I swear, if Sauber next year don't do him justice, I will personally fly to Switzerland to make sure they face true justice. But yeah, good job Hulk, and your Haas era will not be forgotten. Next up is Valtteri Bottas, and RIP man, I love you. Truly an extremely underrated driver since yes, he had his blemishes in Mercedes, a perfect Q3 record at the team is not something most drivers can say. Plus, you have his Sauber days, especially in 2022, be full of questions like, how on earth is he there? I still remember thinking he was going to be on the podium in Spain 2022, and yeah, again, he's severely underrated. He had a great weekend up until his CTE kicked in, and yeah, rest in peace, man. Finally, we have Pierre Gasly. I don't know what this guy's been smoking since Coda, but my word, this is 2021 Pierre Gasly level since he is absolutely cooking in that Alpine. I know that car isn't the same hog it once was, but still, P6 in quali and P7 in the race is mighty respectable. So yeah, more should be in store for him next year. I've just cursed him, haven't I? Now for the bonus categories, and I have the best marksman category, and for this, I choose Kevin Magnussen because to run over a bollard and to have it roll around until it goes perfectly under Lewis's car to ruin his weekend, that is not luck, that is straight skill, and I applaud K-Mag for his skill to make his car into a sniper. And those were my winners and losers from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Man, I already missed this season, but look at the bright side. Lewis will be in a Ferrari, rookies will flood the grid might stay tight, and Max Verstappen may retire. Anyways, let us look at my predictions for the Abu Dhabi weekend as well as yours. Starting with quali predictions, I got these predictions kinda right, especially with the Haas in the top 5. Now for my race predictions, and I got these ones kinda wrong, kinda right, I don't know. Finally, my random prediction, and thankfully, I was wrong about this one. Now for your predictions, and clearly, a lot of y'all were praying on McLaren's downfall. Shame it didn't happen. 2025 will be sensational, and I promise, Formula Duck Season 2 will be better than the first, but in the meantime, stay tuned in the channel for videos over the break. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for their continued support, and make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. And make sure to let me know in the comments who your winners and losers are. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.